What's up? What's up? What's up? You know that sound? That's 60 frames. Holy shit! What's all that right there? Oh crap! What we hearing? What we hearing? What we hearing? Woo! Woo! All that noise, all that ruckus. What's going on? Woo! The streets is hot. 60 frames, no lag podcast. But this ain't the usual podcast. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? This ain't the normal podcast that we go through. You know what I'm saying? But it's a special day for us PlayStation gamers. You know what I'm saying? Just finished watching the PlayStation meeting, so I'm gonna give a quick, viewpoint. You know what I'm saying? Strike while the iron's hot. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for joining. For those who joined, if you don't join, obviously because this is an impromptu podcast. But if anything, hope you enjoy. If you're listening, in your car, whatever. I hope you enjoy. But just want to talk about a few things. So I'll just start. I'll just cut to the chase. I don't want to take this too long. It's 5 p.m. in the East Coast. I know people are getting off of work. Want to relax. So I don't want to take too much of your time. I know your time is precious. I know you want to get back into gaming because that's what you really want to do. You don't want to sit here and listen to my voice all day and listen to podcasts and meetings and all that. So we'll get to it. So overall, what I think about the conference, I'm gonna get to it. I think it was okay. It was all right. It was not bad. It was pretty good. It actually was better than what I thought because I had low expectations, to be honest. I had low expectations of the conference, but it ended up better. I'll say right now, I'm disappointed with the Slim price, especially now that we know the PlayStation Pro. For those who know, the official name of Project Neo is the PlayStation 4 Pro, which I think is a good name. It's a safe name. It's a pretty simple name. It explains it. It's simple. You get, you go to the store, there's a PlayStation Slim and there's a PlayStation Pro. So it's a pretty good name. It's a pretty simple name. I like that. They did a good job with identifying the console. As you know, the price point for the Slim is $299 and the price point for the Pro is $399. And that's why I think it's a mistake. Because you get so much more with the Pro for only $100 more. So I can't see how the Slim is $299. In my opinion, I think Sony's just trying to make the most amount of profit off of each console sold, and I don't think maybe they're not worried about sales as much as they were in the beginning of the gen. I think maybe they got comfortable, but I'll say this: the Slim compared to the Xbox Slim, the Slim looks like a better value because you get so much more for that price point. You know what I'm saying? It also does HDR gaming. But you also got the Blu-ray player and 4K upscaling. You know what I'm saying? So you get a little bit more. But with that though, to me, the Neo is the it console to buy. But I know there's gamers out there at this point that don't want to pay $400 for a console. But with the Pro, you get so much more. I just called it Neo, didn't I? But you get so much more with that Pro. The games looked incredible. That's one thing. They looked incredible. The games looked real incredible. I just did a side-by-side comparison, for myself. I put on one window the stream that was showing Horizon, and then I put the E3 2016 trailer or gameplay that they showed at E3, and the two is worlds apart. Now I don't know if it's just that added HDR. I was just on the multiplayer podcast on Next Gen 720's channel while we were watching the meeting live, and they're saying it's the same game but HDR. But I'm looking at those two things side by side, and it's just worlds apart. It looks so much more incredible. So I mean, I will say this: there is a huge difference between, like, when I looked at it at the live stream, I knew it wasn't what they showed at E3. So I mean, everybody's gonna have their opinion. Just look at it. Just open two windows, run them both, look at both, look at what we just saw with Horizon Zero Dawn, and then look at what they show at E3, and you'll see it's a world of difference. It's big. But anyway, so I like what they showed, but I'm gonna tell you the two main things I really liked. Number one, this was not an ad hoc or a last minute plan for HDR, and I know a lot of concern was, it's only gonna include HDR in the PlayStation Pro. At the time we call it the Neo, and obviously they did. But not only did they have HDR, this is something they planned for a long time because they have a lot of titles that are HDR now. We're talking Uncharted 4, right? That's HDR. They have upcoming game from Ubisoft, For Honor. that's HDR. Mass Effect Andromeda, that's HDR. You know what I'm saying? Sony in this one content, in this one event, talked about more games using HDR than what Microsoft did with their Xbox One S and Scorpio, and they unveiled that back in June. Hell, PlayStation even showed backlog titles. I mean, they also showed the new what is it, Watch Dogs, and they showed Shadow Mordor. Shadow Mordor came out what, like 2014? So that game is HDR enabled. You know what I'm saying? So they're showing how games in the past are also will have HDR technology, which is amazing, which is something that they actually put time into. This is not something that is ad hoc or last minute. Right now, Microsoft's talking about, I think, Gears of War, Forza, and then on 2K announced NBA. Sony's talking about Mass Effect. I mean, and all these games will be available for Xbox HDR too. So I don't want to make it seem like it's exclusive or anything like that. But look how much HDR content they provided, both for the future, Mass Effect, Watch Dogs 2, Horizon, and then in the past, Uncharted, and they showed Shadow of Mordor. So that's pretty amazing that how Sony really planned this out in the long term. But to truly show, and this is probably the biggest thing for me out of the whole show is how they planned out HDR gaming so well that the PlayStation console I own right now, the PlayStation console I'm looking at right now, as I'm touching it, is going to have HDR next week through a firmware update, and that is incredible. That is incredible. I know for the last 2 3 weeks, and really 2 months, a lot of people thought that Xbox, Microsoft, pulled the rug under Sony's eyes, or under Sony's legs. I'm sorry, eyes, under Sony's legs for HDR. That Sony wasn't ready for HDR, and that's not true at all. Every PlayStation 4 gamer is going to have HDR gaming capability. Every one of us. No one is left behind. And I think that is huge because none of us, I think one of the biggest things is a lot of PlayStation OG gamers, people who bought the console are going to feel left out because, no HDR or whatever. But at the very least, we get HDR. So I don't need to buy a new gaming console for HDR gaming. I'm going to need a TV, obviously, that does HDR. But as far as a console, I already own it. Every single PlayStation 4 gamer can enjoy HDR gaming if they choose to. You understand what I'm saying? You don't need to buy a new console. You don't need to buy the Slim to enjoy HDR, and you don't need to buy the Pro to enjoy HDR. It's already there. You already own it, which is amazing. Nobody on the PlayStation is left behind in terms of HDR gaming, and I think that is huge. I don't know how they did it, but I think now more than ever, you know what I'm saying? And this is where we're gonna separate the men from the fanboys. You know what I'm saying? I think this is where we're gonna separate the men from the fanboys. You know what I'm saying? Because I have, and I think if there's any community of Xbox gamers that they're out there, I think those that follow me are probably the most fairest, most reasonable. They're gamers. I think the Xbox gamers that listen and follow my channel are true gamers. And I think you guys could appreciate the fact that, Sony planned it out pretty good. That the current owners can do HDR. Imagine your Xbox console, your OG Xbox console, when Microsoft comes out, hey, with an update, you now could do HDR gaming. You understand what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure you guys would like that. And I know some of you got the Xbox One S because you got great features like the Blu-ray player and 4K upscaling. But the majority of Xbox gamers do not have those features. 20 million people didn't go out and buy an Xbox One S. The majority are playing on the Xbox One. So a simple update that gives those gamers the ability to play HDR, that is amazing. And that's what Sony done. The entire PlayStation community has HDR technology, which is amazing. I don't know how they did it. I thought you needed HDMI 2.0. I don't know what they did. But Sony, you got to appreciate. I think, cut all fanboyism aside, now more than ever, you have to appreciate the type of console Sony released in 2013. This thing is truly future proof. You know what I'm saying? To be able to adopt HDR technology when we were nervous that the Pro wasn't even going to have HDR, and we all assumed the Slim didn't have it. And now the truth is, every PlayStation has it. Every PlayStation, 40 million gamers and counting, have HDR technology, and I think that's huge. I think that's a great thing Sony did. Now, there's some things that we still need to cover now. Supposedly, the PlayStation 4 Pro doesn't have a 4K Blu-ray player to play discs. I don't know how I feel about that. I think package-wise, that can make that's a negative. That's an obvious negative on the PlayStation. But if a Blu-ray player, if a 4K Blu-ray player, right, is the fine line to keep the console at $399 and not make it like $450, right? If that's what they had to do to keep it at $399, then I think that was the better option. I think it's better to keep the console at $399. $399 Neo is a good price point. Once you break that $400 mark, you're treading in dangerous territory. And if not including a 4K Blu-ray, if that's what they had to do to keep at $399, then I think that was the best choice overall. You know what I'm saying? I think it's better to just keep at $399. I think people will be happy with 4K streaming with Netflix, and it has YouTube support. And I think Xbox don't even do 4K streaming in terms of YouTube for for game streaming. So I don't think Xbox One does that yet. Sony does. You could stream live on YouTube, play games and shit like that. And now they're going to do it in 4K too. So that is huge, I think, especially if you're a YouTube content provider. You could be, I know obviously majority do Twitch and, Ustream and stuff like that. But if you're trying to break into the YouTube, right, especially the 4K, they just provided that outlet for you. You know what I'm saying? So pretty good. I think overall good show. I go back, not really happy with the price point. I'm not really happy with the price point of the Slim. I think $299, especially right next to a $399 Neo. That's just that separation. It should have been $249. That should have been the clear message and stuff like that. What's up, Lewis, man? Thank you for stopping by. And you're right, no Blu-ray disc, no 4K Blu-ray. But if that's the sacrifice they needed to make sure that the PlayStation Pro remains at $399, I think the price point was the better choice. I think they did a good job keeping it at $399. I think $399 is the new sweet spot to launch a console. I think once you go past $399, you're asking for trouble. Like a $499 price point, and that's what I was nervous because they announced the Slim for $299. I'm thinking, oh shit, if the Slim is $299, then the Pro's gonna be $499. But they didn't. They announced the $399, which made me even more confused. But yeah. So I think decent process. The games look great. You saw Days Gone. That looked incredible. Mass Effect Andromeda looks incredible. I like the fact that a lot of the older titles that came out this gen have added HDR now. And I like the fact that starting next week, every PlayStation console is HDR capable. And that's incredible. That's pretty incredible. No one expected that. So this OG PlayStation 4 is doing its thing. Good. They didn't mention specs, and you're right, they didn't mention specs, and they're not going to. Because we all know that the specs compared to the Scorpio is better. So you can't really blame them. What they're gonna do is they're gonna let the trailers and the games, they're gonna let the trailers do the talking because the Scorpio's not out yet. So when you have a 1 year advantage, that's an advantage. Right now, Scorpio on paper is more powerful, and yes, it's gonna be the most powerful console. The disadvantage of Scorpio is not here to show it. You're not going to see Scorpio games running on Scorpio at Best Buy or at Walmart or wherever this holiday. You're not. So Sony's going to show games on screen, and the only platform that Xbox has to compare it to is the Xbox One S, and the fidelity is not going to be the same. You know what I'm saying? So the only advantage Sony has right now is the 1 year head start. Because next year when Scorpio comes out, that's when you're going to see the games, and you're going to see the graphic fidelities of the Scorpio shine. But right here, right now, Big Brother Scorpio is not available. So Sony's just going to show trailers and, demonstrations, demos. And this year, this holiday, there is no console that's going to show better looking games, at least on the console. So they did a smart thing trying to get that year advantage. And just like, you were right. They did a good thing with COD. It's going to get a lot of casuals, it's going to get a lot of people. when they see these graphics right here, right now, that is the best looking graphics available for consoles. You know, Scorpio's not here. Scorpio's not here to show, hey, wait a minute, look how games look on Scorpio. So that way, you know, they could, you know, stay the tide on PlayStation. That's just not there. You know, Microsoft doesn't have that available to to slow down Sony at this point. So Sony's better take advantage of that 1 year and develop that narrative. You understand what I'm saying? That's really only Sony's play. But I think 399 is a great price point. I think Sony did a great job finding a way to get HDR across all platforms, which tells me Sony's been planning this from the get-go. Especially with a lot of the older titles being HDR. Oh man, I could imagine Street Fighter, Bloodborne. You saw, they also sold Infamous First Light, and that game was already colorful and bright. Oh, that thing looked beautiful. So they're smart. They're going all in. They're going with titles in the past, which already demonstrated with HDR, and titles in the future. And you saw how great Sony's showing its relationship with third-party platformers. Microsoft hasn't really showed partnership with third-party platformers when it comes to HDR. You didn't see that at E3, and you didn't see it post E3. So you know what I'm saying? In fact, the announcement with of NBA 2K17 going HDR, that was technically a big Microsoft announcement. That was more 2K announcing it. You understand what I'm saying? Sony's actually showing partnership with third party, pushing out HDR and stuff like that. So they're really showing, they're really in with the industry. You know what I'm saying? They're really in. And it just sounds like Sony might have a marketing deal with Mass Effect, which would be insane considering how closely tied Mass Effect was to the Xbox 360 last gen. So if you see like a Mass Effect bundle, a Mass Effect Pro bundle, you know what I'm saying? You see like, you know, PlayStation Pro Mass Effect bundle for $399. That shit would be insane. I'm going to call this shit right now. Spider-Man Pro, huge. Microsoft better do something, because when that Spider-Man drop as a bundle on PlayStation Pro, that shit is going to be a huge seller. That shit is going to be huge. And yeah, you know what? Modus operandi, HDR is here to stay. And you know what? I'm going to agree with you. Before, I wasn't so big on HDR, but I'm going to agree with you now. And not because I'm a Sony fanboy. I'm trying to be a Sony fanboy. But Sony did it right. Right now, next week, the console I own has HDR. Every PlayStation gamer has HDR, which is amazing. You understand what I'm saying? That's just an amazing you know, that's just amazing. And that's how you do it. That's how you bring everybody in. Right now, 40 million PlayStation gamers. Granted, they're not going to have the upgraded graphics of the Pro, but 40 million PlayStation gamers will not be left out when it comes to HDR. That is pushing HDR to its max. Include everybody. Everybody gets it. You know what I'm saying? On the Xbox platform, you know what I'm saying? The OG Xbox, they're left out. That's just the reality. You know, you guys are left out. You guys are going to have to buy a new console, you know, to jump on the HDR train. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm not saying Microsoft is shitty. I'm not trying to bash Microsoft or anything like that. I don't want you to think that I'm a Microsoft bash or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? But the fact is, the majority of Xbox gamers, in order for them to enjoy HDR, they have to buy a new console. The console they got can't do it. The console they got isn't good enough for that. So they're going to be left out with HDR. That's just it. Xbox gamers, majority, are left out with HDR unless they buy a Slim. Now, the Slim is affordable. It's $299. You understand what I'm saying? But if you could get HDR on a console you already own, like me, I don't have to buy a Slim. You know, if anything, me buying a Slim would be retarded. I have no reason to buy a Slim at all. So if I do buy a console, it's going to be the Pro. Whether it's a year or 2 years from now, there is no need for me to get a Slim, because everything the Slim does, I got it right now with no added cost. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm going to drop $399 on a console, it's not going to be simply because of HDR. It's going to be for higher fidelity graphics, much better hardware. And you saw the games. You understand what I'm saying? It is incredible. So I think what Sony did made right. I think Sony is able to push HDR now more than ever. It's just great. It was a great thing. My biggest thing was the pricing of the Slim. $299 just doesn't make sense. It should have been $249 and the Pro $399. That would make more sense, because that tells the budget gamer, hey, we made an affordable console, you know, to play all these amazing games, and it has HDR, but chances are you're not gonna get a 4K. But just to let you know, it has HDR. But it's only 250, and you could play all these great games. That's a better message for the budget consumer. But it is what it is. But anyway, thanks. Yeah, Spider-Man looks epic. I'm telling you, that game is going to be incredible. It's going to be huge when that game comes out. It's going to be huge. Oh man, I can't wait for that game. And Horizon Zero Dawn on Pro, it looks amazing. When you get the chance, guys, look at the Twitch stream that we just saw, and then open up the E3 on YouTube, put out 720p, 1080p, whatever, and compare side by side. It is a huge difference between the two. The colors and everything, it's amazing. It's just amazing. But anyway, I don't want to take up too much of time. This podcast was like around 20 minutes. Thank you for stopping by. Are you guys getting, leave a comment. Are you guys getting the Pro? Obviously, we don't need to get the Slim because we got HDR on our console starting next week. It's there. We weren't left behind. You know what I'm saying? Sony thought this out the right way day one. You know what I'm saying? So now more than ever, you got to, if you're a gamer, you have to give props to Sony for this OG PlayStation 4. You have to. There's just no doubt that when it came to this hardware design, they did a fantastic job providing this console. To the point where now you can get HDR gaming. That is just so impressive that, kudos to Sony on that one. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, Modus is definitely getting it. Anyway, hey, I'm about to get off. I'm about to get on some gaming. And then later on, I got a fantasy draft because I'm in the money league. Trying to make them dollars, trying to make that Neo money. Wish me luck. Maybe if I win the draft, buy that Neo. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, man, you guys are awesome. Thank you for stopping by. If you're listening to this podcast as recorded, I hope you enjoy. If you're new to the channel, welcome aboard. Subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Just check out my first video to know what I'm about and stuff like that. I don't want to waste more of your time. But anyway, man, thanks for stopping by. Shout out to Rick Lewis. Thank you for stopping by. Modus Operandi. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed the show. My PSN tag is PorterRock77. Want to friend me, hit me up and stuff like that. But anyway, you be good. Take care. And I'm out. And remember, keep it gaming. You know what I'm saying? Always keep it gaming at the end of the day. Oh, you're about to hear that sound. Oh, 60 frames, no lag. You know what I'm saying? God bless. Take care. Deuces.